Today marks exactly 1 year that my dad passed away. And I don't know if you guys saw that movie. I don't know if it's called Upside Down or in French it's called Vice Versa, I think. And it's this cartoon where you see a lot of emotions just having like it literally follows the adventure of this girl dealing with her emotions, anger, joy, and whatever. And today I really feel like this is it where there's joy, anger, pride, sadness, just being there all together. And I think that I always thought that emotions were, kind of a singular thing. It's like one thing or another. And today I was like, but attends, I just feel all of this shit. How is it possible? And basically the last few months have been all about feeling this and that, and not necessarily preventing myself from, feeling those emotions, but also not putting any sort of cap on what it is that I can actually feel, and learning that everything can coexist and that it's also fine. I can be sad and joyful. Like, I'm very sad that he left, because I don't think there's worse pain than losing a parent. And at the same time, I am happy that he left because he was suffering. He had Alzheimer's, and I don't think this is a shit disease. So I'm happy that he left. And I'm also happy because he's with his mom, his dad, his sister, his cousin. And literally this morning in my morning pages, I was writing, happy birthday. I hope you've had a really good first year in paradise in heaven, and that you met with your parents, that you met with your cousin, with your sister, that you did all the things that you wanted to do, and that you also did the things that you couldn't do here, and that you also created new memories, and that you have health. And in our traditions, every time we think of a parent or a relative or a friend or someone that has passed away, we always say Rabbi yarhamhu, which sort of like translates into just may God, rest his soul, basically. And today we celebrated with my mom, and it was like, all right, now every year we're gonna make it a tradition of celebrating him, remembering him. And I cried a lot this morning, literally, when I wrote these lines, and I told my mom, hey, it has been 1 year, because I didn't know if my mom, it's not like I did know that she would remember, but in our family, emotions and sensitivity, all these kinds of things, it's like mumbo jumbo, and I always feel like I'm the hypersensitive one, crying all the time and blah blah blah. But I'm very proud of, I love myself, and I feel things very deeply. But anyways, I thought that this would be a meh situation, but I felt so lonely in that, because it's the first time. It's the first year I've never lost a parent. We've never lost a parent, even with my brother. So I was like, I just want to be with my people. And I told my mom, and we both lit a candle. We played some Quran, and then we decided to see each other, to go for food, and celebrate life. And funny enough, I discovered that today is also the 1 year anniversary of my cousin's son. So it's like death and life being celebrated all together. And in any case, I think in our culture in general, funerals, for example, are filled with people, obviously, but there are special women who come to funerals to cry, but there's also like a lot of laughter. It's like, well, he lived, and we start laughing and we remember him, and it's just being together. And today was really that. We had lunch in a very nice place, and we also had coffee, and then we just started remembering my dad. and the things that my mom lived with him, but me as well, and just like honoring sort of like his memory. And I think that again, what you leave behind is really how people made you feel. And even though it wasn't the greatest, let's say, relationship, and I honestly don't know much about him, and I don't remember much of him apart from the bad things, let's say, like the conditioning and all these kinds of things. It's like I see it today as like a forever sort of like forgiveness moment, you know, to him, because, well, as a dad, as a parent for the first time in your life, you do your best, right? And today maybe we have this amazing opportunity at like deep diving into our history and therapy and whatever, but our parents, the generation of our parents, didn't have that. So for me, it's also an opportunity to forgive myself for not being able to express myself back then, but also forgive him, still love him, still give him the rest and the peace that he might need and the forgiveness that he might need to just move on. Just like I'm also giving myself the forgiveness for not staying in touch too much with him, and knowing that we both did our very best at this life, at being together. And yeah, it's a constant reminder of we're all doing life for the first time, and we should all have compassion for ourselves, for our parents, for our friends, for our relatives, for basically anybody that we cross paths with, because there's no fucking guidebook, playbook, call it whatever, with fucking rules, and we're all just doing our very best. And that's it. That's what I'm leaving you with today.